Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to another lesson from One-to-One Tutor. Today we're going to be looking at solving algebraic fractions. We're going to be looking at one of each of these styles of question. Question with fractions on both sides, fractions with brackets, multiple fractions, when you have to do cross multiplying, question that has one fractional part and two other items, and looking at questions again, we got x's on the bottom, how do we get them to the top. All of these questions we'll be looking at in this video, hopefully. Right, okay, let's get started without any further delay. Bismillah. Right, we have the title, Solving Algebraic Fractions. Okay, this is the video I'm doing at the moment with one of my students at his house, and we'll be going through this topic with him. So you might hear me referring to him. Alright, let's have a look. Okay. Alright, let's okay, I'll just double check that everything's in focus. Well, I'm going to try to take quite a bit of space and make nice and big. So when you look back at the video, it's easy for you to see. So here's the first one coming along. Okay, we had first of all, yeah, okay, 8 over x is equal to 32 over 36. Now, if you look at this question, we have a fraction here equal to another fraction over here. Okay, so this gives us quite a nice situation where we can use the technique of cross multiplying. So now, the x being on the bottom is in the wrong place. In order for us to solve this algebraic equation, the x must be on the top. Either on top on this side or on top on that side. So what we're going to do, we are now going to cross multiply. Opposite divide by x is time by x. And opposite of 32 time by x is divide. And opposite of all of this divide by 36 is times. So we have now 8 times by 36 over 32 is equal to x. So now the x has moved from being on the bottom where we can't do anything with it to being at the top, and everything also being rearranged in the cross multiplying technique. Opposite divide is times, opposite times is divide, and there's your divide. Now we're in the privileged position of being able to just to simplify it. So when we simplify, we look at common factors. So if you divide that by 8, that'll give you 1. If you divide that by 8, that'll give you 4. If you divide that by 4, that'll give you 1, and that by 4 will give you 9. So what we're left with is 1 times by 9 is 9, divided by 1, which is still 9. So that's the end of example number 1. Okay, it's taking like a whole page, but hopefully on the video it'll come out nice and clearly. Okay, I don't write too small because you won't be able to see anything. Okay, that's one style of question. Let's have a look at another style of question. Okay. Let's make sure that's in the full view of the camera. Okay, right. Okay, another style of question, okay, again, still relying on the cross multiplying theme. Say, for example, you have x is equal to 27 over x minus 6. So now we have an x over here at the bottom in the denominator area, and we have an x at the top. So we've got two lots of x. But the x minus 6 being on the bottom is not good. We don't want this to be at the bottom. We need to get to the top. Yeah. And the opposite of dividing by x minus 6 is times. So now we will have x minus 6 times by x is equal to 27. So we've done a simple maneuver. Opposite divide is times. It's still that kind of cross multiplying technique from the bottom going to the top, become a times. Now what looks like a quadratic equation. That's linear. This all looks linear, but it's now become a quadratic equation because when we multiply it out, so x times by x will give you
X squared
minus 6 times by x will give you
minus 6x.
excellent is equal to 27. This is looking very, very familiar to similar to a quadratic equation, apart from the fact that 27 is in the wrong place. In order to make it a fully quadratic equation, we need to grab the 27, bring it over. It is a plus 27 becomes a minus. So now we can rewrite the equation as x squared minus 6x minus 27 is equal to 0. I don't like moving my equals to side, but I have to because I'm running out of space. Okay, so this equation here has been rearranged, multiplied out, rearranged a bit more, and now it looks like a quadratic equation, which we should know how to deal with. Okay, this is much better than that. You have part on the bottom and part on the top, and we don't know what to do. But now we know what to do. We have this quadratic equation. We're looking for two numbers. Now when you multiply them together, give you minus 27. So we're looking for the factors of minus 27. But when you add them up, must give you minus 6. So if we start with minus 9 times by plus 3, you can also have plus 9, plus 9 times by minus 3. Just give me a moment while I grab some TPX. This one's brand new. Okay. Okay, right. Them are some of the factors that we can get minus 27 with. If we consider the bottom one, when we multiply them we get minus 27, but when you add them we get plus 6 we need.
Minus.
So let's try the top one, minus 9 times by plus 3. That also gives us minus 27, but it does give us minus 6. So normally in our question we will have an x here and an x there in our template. And now we slot in the minus 9 and the plus 3. Put the equal 0 back in. Okay. But we haven't quite finished here because what we've done so far is called factorizing. We need to solve to get the answer. So we need to say either this bracket is equal to 0. If x minus 9 is equal to 0, that means that x must be equal to plus 9. Because 9 minus 9 is nothing. So either this bracket is 0 or that bracket is 0. In order for them to multiply together to give you 0. If x plus 3 is equal to 0, that means that x must be equal to minus 3. Because that's plus 3, and if you add minus 3 to it, it'll give you nothing. That will be to 0 that bracket, to give you a 0 answer when you multiply with that one. Okay, so let's quickly go through that question again. We started off with x equals 27 over x minus 6. We said the opposite of dividing by this x in the denominator area is to times it. We timed it, multiply the brackets. We rearranged it. We have a quadratic equation which we've identified. We're now looking for the factors of minus 27 that added to minus 6, which we looked at 2 pairs and 1 pair fits. We popped the pairs into there, solved it, doing the opposite of minus 9 is plus 9, opposite of plus 3 is minus 3 in order for our solution, and you have now come to the answer for that question. And call that example number 2. Full view. Okay, you just check that, everything is there? Okay, lovely. Right, I'm going to turn over, do another question. So we need to make sure we get the book in this position. So let's move the book across, because that's where the camera's focused. Okay. Here comes example number 3. Okay. Now example number 3 is where we have 2 plus items and we got a denominator with an x in it or even without x in it. Let's have a look at a question. Let's have a look at okay. In this question are you thinking, oh my god, this question looks horrible. We got fractions here, we got fractions here, we got x in here, x in here. At the moment the question is a linear question Because when you're going to multiply this bracket out, we're just going to get a numerical version, numerical value of x. So for example, we'll have so many lots of x and so many lots of x here. Okay, so we won't get x squared, for example. So it's the linear equation at the moment. Yeah. Okay, but we've got all these horrible denominators hanging about. So the question will be, we need to get rid of these two. Now, what is the technique we can use to get rid of these fraction parts on the bottom? So the technique is we need to look at the lowest, okay, common multiple of the denominators. So what's the LCM? So the LCM of the denominators. Now the denominator is the bottom number. So we have 7 and 4. So what's the smallest number that 7 and 4 can both become? So if you start with 7 first, 7, 14, 21, 28. Now, 7 is not in the 4 times table. 14 is not in the 4 times table. No, it's 21, but 28 absolutely is. Okay? So we know that if you multiply each item by 28, the bottom numbers will be cancelled. We want to get rid of them. We want to eliminate them. So let's do that now. I'm going to change color now to a blue. I'm going to multiply each item in the numerator position by 28. Each item. This is one item, this is one item, and this is one item. Giving us all together how many items? 3 items. So you multiply each item by 28, which I'm doing in a different color so you can see it clearly in the video, hopefully. Now, the purpose of multiplying each item by this LCM is to eliminate the denominators. If it doesn't eliminate the denominators, you've done something wrong. You've got to go back and check it again. So let's have a look if it does eliminate it for us. Now, you've got 5 divided by 7, then times by 28. You can cancel now diagonally. So if I divide this by 7, it'll give me 1. If I divide 28 by 7, it'll give me 4. This 4 and this 28, 28 times by 3 divided by 4, I can cancel diagonally. If I divide 4 by 4, it'll give me 1. And 28 by 4 will give me 7. Okay, and that we just have to multiply it out. So let's now start simplifying it all. So we have 4 times, is the green light on? Green light. Okay. We have 4 times by 5 is, what's 4 times by 5? 20. We have x minus 2. And we have 7 times by 3, which is 21 times by x plus 3. Okay, we just simplifying the numbers outside for the moment. We can do the next step in a second. And we have minus 4 times by 28. Well, minus 4 times by 20 is minus 80. Yeah. And then you add another 28. Yeah, 28. So, 4 times, so 80 at 28 will give you what? Minus 108. Okay, we happy with that? Yeah. So 80 and then add another 28 will give you 108. Yeah. Minus 108. Now what we need to do, we have now successfully eliminated the denominator part of the questions by multiplying each item by the LCM of the denominators. That's cancelled them out. Now we have a linear equation. We've got brackets. Let's start multiplying it out. So 20 times by this and that, minus 21 times by this and that. So let's start multiplying it out and simplifying it. 20 times by x will give you 20x. 20 times by minus 2 will give you minus 40. Minus 21 times by x will give you minus 21. Yeah, and minus 21 times by plus 3 will give you minus 63. Minus 108 stays the same. Yeah. Okay, so if we have on this side 20x minus 21x, what does that give you altogether? Minus 1x, or minus x in that case. So we have here minus 40 and minus 63, that'll give you what? Minus 103. Okay, now we need to make x, solve for x. Okay, at the moment what we can do, opposite of minusing 103 is, so if you have minus 108 and then you add 103, that will give you what? Still minus? Minus? Because we've got more negativeness than positiveness. Okay, so now we're left with minus x is equal to minus 5. We don't want minus x because minus x really means minus 1x. So opposite of multiplying by minus 1 is? That's the final part of our adjustment or our solving part of the question. So minus and that will cancel. Minus 1 divided by minus 1 is just 1. And 1 times by x is just x. So x is equal to minus 5 divided by minus 1. That will give you? 5. Plus 5. And we're done. So I'll quickly double check that all that's coming in clearly onto the video. That's coming in beautifully onto the video. Lovely. Right. Okay. Let's move the page across. I'm just looking at the camera, making sure we got the next page in. Okay. Okay. Right. Without any further delay, let's move on to another type of question. Happy with that so far? Making sense? Yeah. When you're looking at this back on the YouTube, please feel free to pause the video, take the bar back, watch it again. So when I move on to the next question, you just watch it again and go through the question again. Okay, we've looked at those different styles of questions. Okay. Okay, these are all just variations of this. This is the question we have. Alright. Okay, let's do one of those. Yeah, that's just something that's easy ones. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at this next question. Let's just hope this is a nice question. Example number 4. Okay, now this example number 4 is a variation of actually example number 3. Okay, we have an LCM technique. Okay, so let's have a look at example number 4. We have x minus 9 over 2 plus 2 over x is equal to 0. So you think, Hanson, this one looks harder than the previous example, but it's not actually harder. Just because you got 2 and x at the bottom, you don't have two numbers, you have a letter and a number, it doesn't make it harder. You use the same technique. What is the technique? The technique is find the LCM of the denominators. What is the LCM of 2 and x?
2x.
2x? Was it hard?
No.
Not at all. So we found the LCM in a flash. Students give me the LCM as 2x. Now what do? We multiply each item by 2x. And the intention behind that is to eliminate the 2 from here and the x from here, thus getting rid of all the denominator part and making everything, shifting everything to the top.
Yeah.
So let's do that now. Times that by 2x, times that by 2x, times that by 2x, and times that by 2x. Okay, don't get worried that I'm timing 0 by 2x. That's for completeness in the method, even though we know the answer is going to be 0, but I want to write that. And so you can see I've multiplied item number 1 by 2x, item number 2 by 2x, item number 3 by 2x, and item number 4 by 2x. Okay, so now let's multiply them out. So 2x times by x will give you 2x squared. Now, we've got 9 times by 2x divided by 2, the 2's will cancel.
Yeah.
We've got 2 times by 2x divided by x, the x's will cancel. Do opposite time and then divide to cancel each other out. And 0 times by 2x is simply 0. So we're left with now minus 9 times by x. The 2 is gone.
Alright.
Okay. And then we got 2 times by just a... So 2 times by 2 will give you 4. Okay. So now we have a quadratic equation where the coefficient a value, the coefficient of x squared is 2. So it's not 1 anymore. So we'll try first of all to see whether we can factorize it using the traditional method. And if we can't factorize this way, then we know it will be a quadratic equation job. Okay, so let's try it now. So if you split up the number 2x squared into its factors, it can only be split up into one way, which is 2x and x. So we're still looking for two numbers that multiply to give you 4. But it's got to give you a total of minus 2. So we can have minus 4 times by... Okay, hang on a second. Whoops, I had to do a little... Okay, let's go with that. U to x. Okay, now, because we've got a positive number here and a negative number here, we're looking for two numbers at a time to give you a positive number, but added for negative. So they must both be negative. So if I can get it back in. Minus 4 times by minus 1. It's a big fat stubby minus. Okay. So that's one particular factor pair that will give you an answer of plus 4, but then give you a negative answer when we add them. Or we can do minus 2 times by minus 2.
Yeah.
So now let's try some of the numbers in different combinations. If you put the minus 4 on this side, if you pick that one for example, put minus 4 on this side, that will give you minus 8x. You put the minus 1 here, that will give you the minus 9x that you need, minus 1 more x. So I'm going to go for this one here, and I'm going to pop the minus 4 opposite the 2x on purpose to give me a nice big negative number like minus 8x. And that leaves me here to give me the remaining minus x. Okay? So this should give us our original question back. Now, so we've done the LCM, we've done the multiplying, we've now simplified it, well actually we've factorized it, and now we need to solve it. So we say either the first bracket is 0 in order to get a 0 answer, because two numbers are times it. So either 2x minus 1 is 0, the first bracket is equal to 0, or the second bracket is equal to 0. Because in order for this number to turn by that number to give you 0, this must be a 0, or this part must be a 0 to get 0 answer. To get 0 from a multiplying, one of the numbers must be 0. So if 2x minus 1 is 0, okay, and we want to work out x, opposite of minus 1 is?
Plus.
Opposite of times by 2 is?
Divide.
So x is equal to?
Half.
Okay, this one's more easier. Opposite of minus 4 is?
Plus.
So x is equal to?
Plus 1.
Okay, are you happy with that?
Yes.
Good. Okay, let's go on to the kind of questions they're giving us in the... Right, here's the Edexcel GCSE Mathematics Linear Revision Workbook higher, and we're going to go through some of the questions in this. Right, okay, which page, what page are you on? Here we go. Okay, right. What we're going to do for the questions that we've got in there, they are a bit more tricky questions, slightly different. We will do those in the next video. I want to pause the video now, and I'm going to put the question sheet back in front so you can look at the questions and then try these questions. For those of you who are the YouTubers who are learning this from, here comes the questions. Okay, that's a 36. Okay, that one here is 4x plus 3 divided by x equals 7. Come turn the page over. Okay, here's the remaining questions. I'm going to move them slowly. When you're watching this, you can print screen, pause it, print out the questions, and do the questions. So these are the questions, the exercise. The student's going to have a go over here now at the question. I'm going to stop the video and we'll come back to go through some more of these questions in the next video. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Inshallah, we'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.